My dad can buy you. The words leave his mouth before the case is even fully called. Aiden Victor Ruff, 18, polished, and painfully untested, drops the line with the same tone someone uses to order a drink they don't plan to pay for. He doesn't smirk. He doesn't hesitate. He just assumes. Judge Caprio slowly sets his pen down. Mr. Roth, he says, voice low but anchored. You're speaking to a court of law. What you just said is now part of the official record. Do you understand the weight of that? Aiden leans back. I understand my father owns half the city. Caprio doesn't blink. Your father owns property, Mr. Roth. He does not own this bench. Sit down. Aiden shrugs like he's being mildly inconvenienced. The attorney his father hired, who looks like he'd rather be anywhere else on earth, jumps to his feet. Your Honor, my client is young, and, Counselor, Caprio cuts in. Your client made a statement that questions the integrity of this proceeding. We will address that. Right now, we are establishing the facts. He turns to the clock. Miss Lewis, call the case. The clock rises, voice steady. Case number 2025 TR 47286. Commonwealth versus Aiden Victor Ruff. The clerk's voice carries across the room. Charges: speeding, 68 miles per hour in a posted 35 mile per hour school zone during active hours. Reckless operation. Failure to obey a lawful order. Judge Caprio turns back to Aiden. Before we pull the audio, he says dryly, tell us where you're watching from and subscribe to order in the court. This is about to get uncomfortable. The attempt at levity barely softens the atmosphere. Aiden stays ahead. Unmoved, his attorney clears his throat. Your Honor, we're prepared to pay the fines and resolve this matter today. Counselor, Caprio replies, this court is not a payment portal. Your client was clocked at nearly double the speed limit in an active school zone. We are going to review the evidence. He looks to the aisle. Officer Rodriguez, please take the stand. Officer Thomas Rodriguez steps forward, raises his right hand, and is sworn in. Officer Rodriguez, Caprio says, read your incident narrative into the record. Yes, Your Honor. He unfolds a small report, posture crisp. On Tuesday, October 15th, at 8:47 a.m., I was conducting speed enforcement on Elmwood Avenue near Carver Elementary School. The school zone beacon was flashing, speed limit reduced to 35 miles per hour. Using LiDAR, I clocked a black sports sedan traveling westbound at 68 miles per hour. I activated my lights and siren. The vehicle did not stop immediately. It continued for approximately 2 blocks before pulling into a parking lot. When I approached the driver, later identified as Aiden Roth, I requested his license and registration. He responded, call my lawyer first. I explained that is not how traffic stops work. He then stated, do you know who pays your salary? I issued citations for speeding, reckless operation, and failure to obey. Caprio makes a slow note with his pen. The courtroom is silent. Officer Rodriguez, Caprio begins, you have dashcam and bodycam footage of this stop, correct? Yes, Your Honor. Play the bodycam audio. Just the relevant exchange. A brief hiss of static fills the room. Then Aiden's voice cuts through. Sharp, dismissive, unmistakably arrogant. Do you know who pays your salary? Caprio doesn't move. He lets the silence swell. 10 seconds, maybe 12. Enough for the weight of the words to settle where they belong. Mr. Roth, he finally says, did you make that statement to Officer Rodriguez? Aiden leans back. Yay. So what? So context matters, Caprio replies. Officer Rodriguez was performing his duties. You attempted to intimidate him by invoking financial authority. Speed is physics, not privilege. He turns to the clock. Miss Lewis, were there any contacts to this court regarding this case prior to today's hearing? The clock flips through a binder. Yes, Your Honor. 2 incoming calls and 1 voicemail. All from a number registered to Roth Capital Group Legal Counsel. Provide the timestamps. First call at 9:23 a.m. Second call at 9:41 a.m. Voicemail left at 9:58 a.m. Play the voicemail. A measured, polished corporate voice fills the courtroom. This is calling on behalf of Victor Roth regarding case 2025 TR 47286. Would like to discuss a quiet resolution before the matter proceeds to hearing. Please return this call at your earliest convenience. Aiden's attorney rises quickly. Your Honor, my client is not responsible for calls made by his father's office. This is highly prejudicial. Overruled, Caprio says without looking up. Pressures on process belong on the record. I'm documenting facts, counselor, not speculating. He nods toward the clock. Miss Lewis, align the timeline. Yes, Your Honor. Traffic stop at 8:47 a.m. First call from Roth Capital Legal at 9:23 a.m. That's 36 minutes after the stop. Caprio turns back to Aiden. Mr. Roth, did you contact your father after the stop? Aiden exhales through his nose. I texted him. The room tightens. Caprio waits. Miss Lewis, Caprio says, do we have that text in evidence? Yes, Your Honor. Screenshot submitted by Officer Rodriguez, recovered during the stop with the defendant's consent. Text from the defendant to the contact labeled Dad. Timestamp, 9:02 a.m. Message reads, got cited. He'll make calls. Don't sweat it. Caprio studies the page for a long moment, then sets it down. Expectation of rescue is not a defense, Mr. Roth. He turns to the clock again. Miss Lewis, does Mr. Roth have prior traffic citations on record? Yes, Your Honor. 3 prior speeding citations in the past 18 months. All marked resolved by counsel. No personal appearances by the defendant. Caprio fixes his eyes on Aiden. You've been cited 3 times in 18 months, and you've never appeared in court personally. Is that correct? Aiden shrugs. My lawyer handles it. Your lawyer pays your fines, Caprio replies. That is not the same thing as accountability. He folds his hands. Mr. Roth, do you understand that school zones exist to protect children? I guess. You guess. Caprio turns. Officer Rodriguez, were children present during the stop? Yes, Your Honor. Crossing guard posted. Approximately 20 students were crossing Elmwood at that time. Caprio faces Aiden again. Mr. Roth, you were driving 68 miles per hour past 20 schoolchildren. Do you understand the stopping distance at that speed? I stopped fine. You stopped 2 blocks after the officer activated his lights, Caprio says. That is not fine. That is defiance. He leans forward. Now, back to your opening statement. You told this court, and I quote, my dad can buy you. Do you stand by that statement? Aiden shifts, then smirks. I mean, he probably could. The attorney shoots up from his chair. Your Honor, my client is young. He doesn't Philly. Counselor, Caprio cuts in. Your client is 18. He is an adult. He turns back to Aiden. Mr. Roth, are you stating, on the record, that your father could purchase this court? Aiden doesn't blink. My dad has dinner with the mayor every month. He funds half the charities in this city. So yeah, if he wanted to make a call, this goes away. Caprio nods to the clock. Miss Lewis, read that back. The clock reads from the stenographer's record. My dad has dinner with the mayor every month. He funds half the charities in this city. So yeah, if he wanted to make a call, this goes away. End quote. It's a direct challenge to the integrity of this proceeding. Do you understand that? Aiden leans back, arms crossed. I understand my dad has more power than you do. Caprio straightens, not angry, not flustered, just resolute. Here is my finding on the traffic citations. The evidence is clear and uncontested. LiDAR reading of 68 miles per hour in a 35 mile per hour school zone, corroborated by bodycam timestamp and the school zone beacon log confirming active status. Approximately 20 children were present. The vehicle failed to stop for 2 blocks after lights and siren were activated. The defendant refused to provide license and registration without legal counsel present, constituting failure to obey a lawful order. He signs the first page. I find the defendant guilty on all 3 counts. Base fines total $1,200. Additionally, I'm imposing a 90-day license suspension, effective immediately, and mandatory enrollment in a driver safety course to be completed prior to reinstatement eligibility. Aiden opens his mouth to protest, but Caprio holds up a hand. Consequences teach what privilege hid. He turns the page slowly. But we're not finished, Mr. Roth. The courtroom stills. Your statements, both to Officer Rodriguez and to this court, represents something far more serious than traffic violations. When you told Officer Rodriguez, "Do you know who pays your salary?" you attempted to intimidate a public servant performing his duty. When you told this court, "My dad can buy you," you attacked the legitimacy of this institution. Caprio folds his hands. Direct contempt of court is defined as conduct that occurs in the immediate presence of the court and obstructs the administration of justice. Your statement was made in open court, on the record, in my presence. It was deliberate, not accidental, and it undermines public confidence in the judicial process. He leans in just slightly, not as a threat, but as a boundary. Here is what concerns me most, Mr. Ruff. You didn't just insult me. You told every person in this courtroom, and everyone who will read this transcript, that justice is for sale. He lets the weight of the sentence settle, and Weiss, you said it as if it were normal. You'll serve until the program supervisor verifies completion. No shortcuts, no substitutions. Aiden swallows. Caprio continues. Second, you'll complete a certified driver responsibility course with written modules on kinetic energy, braking distance, and child pedestrian risk. You will handwrite, not type, a 1,000-word reflection explaining how speed, physics, and judgment intersect in a school zone. No legal team edits. No PR polishing. He turns a page. Third, you will record 2 public service announcements for school broadcasts. One on school zone safety. One on the difference between accountability and privilege. Both will be reviewed by the court before release. These are not branding exercises. They are acts of responsibility. Aiden nods slowly. Fourth, Caprio says, you will complete a civic ethics module covering abuse of influence, intimidation of public servants, and the separation between wealth and authority. Certification of completion will be filed with the court. And fifth, you will submit a handwritten apology to Officer Rodriguez and to the staff and students of Carver Elementary. Real apologies, not excuses. Caprio sets down his pen. Mr. Ruff, I'm giving you something your money has never bought you. Structure, consequence, and the possibility of maturity. If you complete this plan fully and on schedule, the remaining 15 days of custody are remitted. Fail to complete any portion, and the remainder is immediately reinstated. Do you understand? Yes, Your Honor. Good. You will be released today. Miss Lewis, note the time, 11:14 a.m. 8 weeks later, Aiden returns to court. This time there is no smirk, no swagger, no tailored suit sent by his father. Just a plain shirt, a folder of verification forms, and someone who looks like he's been out in the cold at 7 a.m. for many mornings in a row. Mr. Roth, Caprio says, I have your service logs. 200 hours completed. All verified. I have your course certificate and your reflection. I have the PSA recordings. I have the apologies, handwritten. No corrections. No memos from counsel. He looks up. I want to hear from you. In your own words. Aiden breathes in. When I stood here last time, I thought being wealthy meant being untouchable. I thought rules were for people without connections. I thought calling my dad fixed things. But when I worked that school crossing for 8 weeks, I saw the kids I sped past. I learned how long it takes a car going 68 to stop. I watched how much those kids trust the adults keeping them safe. He blinks. I didn't deserve their trust, but I'm trying to earn it back. You'll complete your service directly in the area where your actions put others at risk. You will deliver in-person apologies to Officer Rodriguez and to the principal of Carver Elementary, using your own words, not something polished by advisors. These apologies must reflect genuine awareness, not rehearsed statements. You'll also create a school zone safety message for public use, and the court will review every line before it airs. No personal branding, no family references, just straightforward truth. In addition, you will finish a driver responsibility course and provide an 800-word reflection that shows real understanding rather than polished public messaging. Do you accept these terms? Yes, Your Honor. Then you will be released today. Officer Wilson will handle the paperwork. Do not give this court a reason to question its trust. I won't, Your Honor. Thank you. Over the next 4 months, Aiden completes each requirement step by step. Week 1. He reports to Elmwood Avenue at 7:45 a.m. to serve as a crossing guard. The temperature rests at a harsh 34 degrees as he holds the stop sign and watches children move across the same street where he once drove far too fast. One parent recognizes him from the local coverage but says nothing. She simply looks at him, then guides her daughter across the crosswalk. The silence makes the consequence feel heavier than any lecture week 3. He visits the police station to give his apology to Officer Rodriguez. Rodriguez listens carefully, gives a short nod, and replies, "Thank you for coming. I hope you meant every word." The meeting is brief, but the seriousness in Rodriguez's voice lingers. Aiden leaves realizing an apology only matters if the behavior that follows supports it. Week 5. He meets with the principal of Carver Elementary. She reads his written apology before looking up at him. "Our students deserve to feel safe walking to school," she tells him. "I hope you keep that in mind moving forward." Her measured tone carries weight, reminding him that a child's safety isn't something adults can take lightly. The meeting ends with a polite handshake, but her words stay with him. Week 8. He records the public service announcement. His first draft tries to reference his family's community wike, but the court rejects it immediately. He records again, this time keeping it plain. "I drove too fast in a school zone. I thought the rules didn't apply to me. I was wrong. These limits exist to protect lives, and we all share responsibility for following them." For the first time, he speaks without trying to justify himself. Week 12. He turns in his long-form reflection. It's blunt, sincere, and avoids any polished spin. He writes, "For years I believed that having resources equaled automatic respect. I learned that respect is created through actions, especially the ones no one sees. And when you face the results of your decisions, you learn quickly whether your character is real or just assumed." His reflection marks a turning point that the review board immediately notices. The compliance checklist is straightforward. 200 hours completed, 2 in-person apologies delivered, 1 PSA approved, and a full reflection submitted. It raises a question the court later discusses publicly. Should contempt be used more often when individuals attempt to pressure or intimidate the court? Community members share their opinions, turning the case into a conversation about accountability. All repairs are completed within 60 days, bringing every school zone beacon back to full working order. Once the updated enforcement numbers are released publicly, the community sees a measurable shift. Speeding incidents in school zones fall by 28%, marking one of the sharpest declines the city has recorded in years. Judge Caprio's memo on appropriate courtroom conduct is shared throughout the state. Part of it reads, "Financial standing is not a qualification. Social position is not a shield. When someone attempts to pressure the court through influence or connections, custody is not punishment. It is a reminder of equal accountability." The memo quickly becomes a reference point for court employees and attorneys across multiple districts. Late on a quiet Friday afternoon, Judge Caprio wraps up his final case of the week. Before gathering his things, he opens the digital docket from the Tuesday session when Aiden Roth made the remark that led to his immediate detention. He reviews the entry for a moment, recalling how quickly the courtroom shifted that day. After a short pause, he types a brief note in the margin of his private bench log. Judicial integrity is not a commodity. It has never been negotiable, and it never will be. He reads it once, making sure the message reflects the principle he has upheld for decades. As he prepares to leave, he thinks of Aiden standing in the cold school zone, holding a stop sign and watching children cross the very street his actions once endangered. He recalls the message someone sent earlier that week, the one implying that outside influence might smooth things over. He also remembers the 15 days Aiden spent in custody, days that taught him the reality of accountability more clearly than any speech could. These moments remind the judge why consistent standards matter in every courtroom. He closes his bench book, powers down the light above his desk, and locks the door behind him. The courthouse grows quiet, settling into its weekend stillness. This dramatization is designed for storytelling and educational purposes only. It is not legal guidance or formal reporting.